What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here with another 2-minute drill episode. Tuesday, July 13th, man. Our boy B-Dub is back from California, man. He was out there fighting Diamondback fans. You know how them Dodger fans are out there. He probably got into like 4 fist fights that night. But, man, before we get into it, make sure to go check out our interview we dropped this Monday with Nicario Harper, Jacksonville State DB, first team All-FCS All-American. Also, he was the OVC Defensive Player of the Year. The kid is a baller. He is very hyped. Hey, he already put Florida State on upset watch. He said, we're going to start the season by whooping UAB. And he said, we're coming to Tallahassee and taking names over there at Florida State. So Jacksonville State is a team to watch. And today, man, go check out an interview with Austin Bolton, Alcorn State running back, former Mississippi Community College running back, man, won the MVP in the national championship game there. Great interview, great kid. And listen, he said Alcorn is coming back for their title, so make sure to tune into that, man. All those kids deserve all the hype in the world. But we got to go to the Power 5 because Pro Football Focus has done pissed us off. This is getting ridiculous. Like, you can't just go on the internet and say whatever y'all want at this point without someone calling you out. And they released it was really a top 20, but we're going to cover the top 10. The top 10 coaches in college football. And Pro Football Focus released this list, guys. Hold it up right here. So we got Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Kirby Smart, Lincoln Riley, Dan Mullen at Florida, Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern, Matt Campbell, Iowa State, Kyle Whittingham at 8 from Utah, 9 Lance Leipold at Kansas. Yes, yep, I know. And 10 Mac Brown at North Carolina. So, Brandon, let's just kick it off. I had to drop our banner because the picture's too big, but what is your first reaction to this top 10 list that was released by Pro Football Focus?
My first reaction was how does this guy work for Pro Football Focus? But I like your first reaction, Zach, when I sent this to you, and you said, what the hell is a Lance Leipold? And you're right, because who knows? He has never coached a game at Kansas. As a matter of fact, the only time he has been a head coach was at Buffalo for like 5 seasons. And I don't know about you, Zach, but Buffalo hasn't necessarily been in national headlines over the past 5 seasons. They've been good in the MAC, but other than that, like, what do they produce? So, I don't know. This entire list is ridiculous. I mean, I get some of these, emphasis on some, but most of this list is just, I have no idea.
It's a lot of what ifs. I mean, so, okay, can I start out with some praise for Lance Leipold? So, yes, he took over Buffalo in his last 3 seasons. He went 24-10. That's really good at Buffalo. But, Brandon, his biggest success was at Wisconsin Whitewater, which is D3, in which his record, Brandon, this is pretty dumb, I'm not going to lie, was 109-6.
Okay, that's good, but it's also D3 football.
And he won 6 straight national championships.
That's pretty good. It hasn't translated.
But, I mean, listen, that's like playing Dynasty mode on NCAA on, like, extra rookie mode. Like, that's like when, like, you, like, play rookie mode, but you've already edited all your players. Like 100.
I'm playing on middle school mode.
Middle school mode. Okay, I get it. He did great things at D3. He turned around Buffalo in a pretty strong way. But I wouldn't mind if you had him top 20, Brandon, because what he's done in his past 2 stops is great. But there's got to be some type of criteria for top 10. So the thing about these lists is they don't release like what criteria they use. Like, are we ranking it on full careers? Are we ranking it at the current stop? Or like, how much weight do national championships hold? How much weight does conference championships hold? Because if that's the case, 1, he doesn't have the longevity at Kansas because he got hired like 3 months ago. 2, he hasn't won a national championship above the D3 level. And like, he hasn't done anything at the Power 5 level, especially. And so how much weight are we going to – so, Brandon, you put him over Mac Brown, who has won a national championship at Texas and had North Carolina in the top 5 in late October last year and has had multiple stellar recruiting classes turn around North Carolina. You have him – yes, The top 10 doesn't include Jimbo Fisher, who has recently won a national championship in 2013, and Brandon has done some pretty spectacular things at A&M, trying to overturn everything Kevin Sumlin effed up at that program. You like who else do you want to put out there? How about Brian Kelly, who's won 80% of his games at Notre Dame and just made the playoffs again?
I've got a blaringly obvious one. Where's Ryan Day at? Like, he's just completely missing from this list. Like, he hasn't made the playoff every single year since he's been at Ohio State.
Do you want to hear something bad, though?
What's that?
He's not even in their top 20.
That's terrible. Truth be told, I've not seen the top 20. I've only seen the top.
So 11 is Jamie Chadwell, Coastal Carolina.
Disgusting. Terrible.
Brian Kelly at Notre Dame's 12.
Okay.
Jimbo Fisher's 13.
Okay.
14 is Mark Stoops at Kentucky.
Okay.
15 is Luke Fickell at Cincinnati. 16 is Tom Allen at Indiana. 17 is Jeff Monken at Army. 18 is James Franklin at Penn State. 19 is Billy Napier at Louisiana Lafayette. And 20 is PJ Fleck. So you have PJ Fleck, you have James Franklin, you have Tom Allen, you have Luke Fickell, who's in the same state. You have who else you got in this list? You have Pat Fitzgerald. You have all these coaches from the same conference that Ryan Day has never lost.
No, he's basically the fifth best coach at best in Seth Galina's team in the Big Ten. Like, that's nuts. That's insane.
Listen, and yes, there was a time when Ryan Day got hired that me and Brandon said we're a little bit skeptical whether he can keep, that same pace. Like, is it Urban Meyer's talent or is it Ryan Day? And I think he proved this year, Brandon, it's his talent. And I don't know if people know this. You can go check the recruiting stats. I don't have them in front of me. It was for another episode. He's out-recruited Urban Meyer every year he's been the head coach at Ohio State. And Brandon, if it wasn't for that Alabama class last year, Ohio State would have the highest rated recruiting class in 247 history. Alabama and Ohio State broke that record together.
Yeah, that blows my mind that he's not in the top 20. That makes me, and I hate Ohio State, and that makes me so mad that he's not in the top 20.
Listen, Jamie Chadwell, you've done great things. Coastal Carolina was a top 10 team. I get it, but better than listen. If you just gave Ohio State the choice, you can have Jamie Chadwell for free, or you got to pay Ryan Day the $9 million a year he's owed. They would still pay the $9 million bleeping dollars that they owe Ryan Day every year.
Well, Zach, what I'm going to say is that I don't think I'd take Jamie Chadwell over any coach that's won a national championship in the past 10 seasons. And that's just like.
Oh yeah. Also, speaking of that, where is Coach O?
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, where is he? Because, man.
Listen, this is tough, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, Brandon. There's some coaches on this list that I would put Gus Malzahn over.
Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong. I think I would put him over who? Over
Jamie Chadwell?
Jamie Chadwell, yeah.
Maybe Lance Leipold?
Probably Lance Leipold. Yeah, probably.
I mean, and let's be honest, I hate to say this, and, we had a conversation today in our Twitter group about this. Bro, James Franklin, speaking of the past few years, has done a pretty bad job managing Penn State. Let's be honest. He hasn't done that. Brandon, there's no reason Penn State should start the season 0-5. Not even a single one that I can think of.
Yeah, last year was real tough. This is a terrible look.
And listen, I love what Billy Napier's doing, Brandon, but he didn't even win his conference.
No, I know. He had one good season as the Jamie Chadwell, and they somehow made it on this list. And I get it. They probably are going to be great coaches, but you cannot put, they probably will in the future. You can't do that for this list. That's not what this list is.
I get it. 21-4 is great, but I'd say they're going to beat Texas this year, possibly. But Brandon, if they go in there and Texas smacks them, how dumb is it going to look? You put them at 19.
Yeah, you're right.
And Brandon, listen, I love PJ Fleck, and I think he's underrated at 20. How is he behind Billy Napier and Jamie Chadwell?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. How is he? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand how he's behind Pat Fitzgerald, honestly. How is he the best coach?
Okay. Time out. I don't think he's the best coach in the Big Ten. I don't mind him being in the top 10, though.
I absolutely mind him being in the top 10. I understand that he's made Northwestern a contender.
He's been made 2 out of the last 3 Big Ten championships.
Right, but he hasn't done anything, Zach. He cannot beat Ryan Day, who isn't on this list.
That's a fair point. So, Brandon, let's real quick, go into this, and I guess we've already addressed it, but I mean, so outside of Lance Leipold, which other college football coaches are overrated according to Pro Football Focus right now?
So you want to go we can go one by one and be like, hey, is this coach? Do they deserve to be where they're at? Do they deserve to be?
Okay, we'll go through the list. Let's start it. Let's start at 5 because the top 4 are fine. I feel like. I mean, listen,
I feel like Kirby could be a little bit lower. I think Lincoln Riley deserves to be above Kirby.
Yeah, I want mine. Listen, 1 and 2 is fine. 1 and 2 is if you're listening to our podcast and you've been a listener and you disagree with 1 and 2, we've failed as podcast hosts. You just need to unsubscribe. You can go listen to something else because we don't need you here. If you don't think Nick Saban's 1 and Dabo Swinney's 2, we don't need you here. You can go ahead and go on down the road somewhere. But 3 and 4, I think, are interchangeable, Brandon. I feel like he might have bumped Smart just because he beat Riley in the Rose Bowl.
Maybe.
That could be the only argument. And it's kind of unfair to compare because Lincoln Riley hasn't had to face an how many SEC championships would Kirby Smart have if you took Alabama out of the SEC?
A lot, but Alabama's still in the SEC. So
I get it, but Lincoln Riley's. I mean, I don't want to be mean. Lincoln Riley had to beat Texas.
Yeah, that's
Iowa State. And listen, those are great programs, especially Iowa State. I'm very time out. I was going to preface this. Great programs, but Brandon, has Oklahoma ever played Iowa State and had a talent deficit?
No, I don't think so.
That's where I'm going with it. Every time every time Kirby Smart steps on the field, he's playing with a talent deficit against Alabama.
Yeah.
It might not be as much, but it's still a talent deficit. So I don't mind 3 or 4 if you switch them. 5, I think, is where the debate kind of starts. And personally, I don't mind Dan Mullen being here. I would rather see Ryan Day here and Mullen at 6. But I mean, I feel like Mullen deserves to be in the top 10 at least. If you agree with me on that one.
I don't know. Maybe. I think he's a borderline top 10 coach. Yeah. Yes, he turned Mississippi State all the way around, and he turned Florida from. People don't talk about Florida enough from 2011 to 2017, where they were just
being horrible
year, and he did turn them around. I'll say that. To me, it just seems like he can't win when it matters, and that's the only thing that has him falling on this list. Yeah, maybe he deserves to be number 10 on this list. Number 5's tough. Number 5's difficult.
See, I think, listen, guys, me and Brandon have talked, we're going to come out with an episode where we rank our own top 10 and break down exactly why we put them there on some people. So they'll be coming. But yeah, Brandon, I think as long as we can agree he's somewhere in the top 10, whether it be at the back end or somewhere in that 6 to 10 range, I'm cool with that. Yeah. I think we can agree with that. Now that brings us to Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern head coach. This is what I'm kind of torn on because he's done so well at Northwestern, but it doesn't always seem to translate. It's if you gave him Alabama, would he still be able to do the same thing?
Yeah, no, I doubt it. I mean, Northwestern's never coming out with just insane recruits. They never are, and he still made something out of them. So I guess on that, on those terms, he kind of deserves to be here. I wouldn't put him in my top 10, maybe my top 20, just because of what he's done at Northwestern, because no one else has been able to do it. Northwestern, like you said, has made, 3 Big Ten championships in the past 4 seasons. Is that right?
Or no, I think it's 2 out of the last 3.
2 of the last 3. Yeah, and so that's cool and all, but they're never close to winning it. I don't know. To me, yes, he's done big things at Northwestern, but not quite big enough and not nearly big enough on like a national stage.
I do think he's top 10. And so hear me out, Brandon. I found this cool stat. From 1892 to 2006, Northwestern played in 6 bowl games.
Yeah.
Under Fitzgerald, they've played in 10.
That's pretty good.
I'll
give you that.
From 1953, which is when they joined the Big Ten, to 2006, they had 2 finishes inside the top 25. Since 2006, they've had 5 under Fitzgerald.
Yeah, it's okay. I get what you're getting at.
I'm giving him a top 10 just based on this, Brandon, because I feel like, so just a spoiler for my list, I am going to try to factor in some sort of, I guess, curve for coaches who coach at programs that they're not going to get the 5 stars ever.
Right.
Like he's to beat the Wisconsins, to beat the Michigans, to beat the Indiana, like to beat the teams you got to beat in the Big Ten, Nebraskas, to get to the Big Ten championship, and then even almost beat Ohio State this year. I think you got to give Pat Fitzgerald just a little bit of respect.
That's true. And the more I thought about it, because my initial reaction to him being on this list was, oh my God, are you serious? And I think I even messaged you that. I think I was even like, I'm almost more appalled that Pat Fitzgerald is 6 than I am that Lance Leipold's even on this list. But the more I've thought about it, the more I realized that Northwestern has legitimately been only good under him, which is a big feat in and of itself. So I don't hate him being on this list. I don't know if I'd have him on my own personal top 10, though.
We'll find out. We'll find out. But that brings us to Matt Campbell, Brandon, Iowa State head coach. And this is one I'm borderline. I think I'll start it off. I was kind of trying to do my list in my head as I was preparing. I think 9 through 13 range is somewhere where I would have him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He wouldn't be my top 10. It's as simple as that. I have to look into it more, Zach. I haven't done a ton of Matt Campbell research quite yet, but I don't think he's in my top 10 just based on face value alone.
Ooh, I like it. So that brings us to Kyle Whittingham, who he's a good coach, guys. And I'm not saying that anybody we take out of the top 10 is a bad coach, but it's got to be everybody can't be top 10. And Kyle Whittingham hasn't won anything meaningful at Utah.
They claimed a national championship in 2008.
That was under Urban Meyer, wasn't it?
No, Utah. He's been at Utah since 2005.
Oh, so wait, how did they? Oh my God, they pulled. They seriously pulled a UCF.
Well, they went undefeated and they won the Sugar Bowl, so they claimed.
Okay, that's what UCF did. Except they won the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, but the Peach Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. This was BCS when Sugar Bowl actually meant something.
I mean, listen, a great defensive coach, everything like that. They just, yes, they've won 9 games in 5 of the last 6 seasons. But, Brandon, they can't finish. Like you said, they never – and listen, they play in one of the, I guess, easier conferences when you look at, teams in the Pac-12 championship. Until he wins the Pac-12, I'm sorry, I can't have you in the top 10. I think you could fall in the top 15, maybe top 20. But I don't think Kyle Whittingham's a top 10 coach in college football.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think he's a borderline top 10 coach. I really do. Zach,
over Campbell and Fitzgerald?
Utah was never good. They were never good.
Yes, they were.
When?
Under Urban Meyer the whole time.
Under Urban Meyer? He wasn't there for very long, Zach. He was good after Urban Meyer, and he's been consistently decent at Utah since then. Utah beat Alabama.
So, hang on, time out. So you could be excuse me. You could be consistently decent and be a top 10 head coach.
All I'm saying is I understand it more than I understand some of these picks. So he's borderline there for me, Zach. I mean, I'm not saying he's top 10, but he might be 11, 12 on my list.
I am looking up Utah football right now. This is ridiculous.
They've never been good. they've been good.
Their program has a 60% win percentage.
Yeah, what's his win percentage though?
24 conference titles, Brandon.
Okay. I don't know, man. I feel like I might have dropped the ball on this one. I'm not totally sure. But he has a 670 winning percentage. He's 670.
He's won 3 division titles and never. He's always the bridesmaid, never the bride in the Pac-12.
That 2008 title.
They were in the Mountain West at that time, so let's pump the brakes.
He won a title in the Mountain West. That's pretty sick.
Oh my Jesus! Who did he beat? Boise State the one year they weren't good.
In the Sugar Bowl? What? No, that's the year they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl.
No, I'm talking about in the Mountain West, though. To win the Mountain West, you had to go.
I don't know.
You had to go through Boise State.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
But let's just move on. We already said Lance Leipold's not in our top 10. We're not going to bore y'all with another Lance Leipold thing. Mack Brown, it's easy for me, Brandon. Top 10. He's won a national championship.
This is where I kind of things are iffy here with me. I think no, he's in my top 10.
Okay. I was about to say, if you put Kyle Whittingham in your top 10 and not Mack Brown, I'm ending the call. You're done. You're off the podcast.
The difference is he might be in my top 3, honestly. Just his entire
take.
At Texas, Zach, he won the 2005 national championship against arguably one of the greatest football teams of all time in USC. And then he should have won another one in 2009 if Colt McCoy didn't get hurt on the first drive of the game, because they weren't out of that game automatically. They only lost that game by 2 touchdowns. And if Colt McCoy's in it, they might win. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they might win that game. He was elite at Texas, and he's been like he's surprised everybody in North Carolina, I think. Kind of in his first stint even. I mean, I think he won National Coach of the Year in like 1996 at North Carolina. And then he comes back, and like you said, he had a top 5 team last season. And I'm not saying this current stint that he's on right now deserves to be number 3 overall, but I think his entire career does. I think his time at Texas alone deserves to be number 3 on this list, because Kirby's never won a national championship. Lincoln Riley's never won a national championship. No one else on this list has, except for Dabo and Nick Saban. So why not have him at number 3? It'll make sense.
And then the rest of them aren't on the list.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, the reason, okay, so we're both agree with Saban, both agree with Sweeney, Smart, Riley, Mullins, borderline. I said Fitzgerald, you said Whittingham, and we both said Mack Brown. That leaves about 3 spots open. And so I think we can speak for each other here and say Jimbo deserves to be in the top 10.
Absolutely.
Ed Orgeron for me would be like lower half, but I think because of his recent success and the potential, I think this year is going to determine where he is, Brandon. If he goes out and gets a 10-win season, he's easily, in that 7 to 10 range. But right now, I think I would have Coach O probably around the 9 or 10 range.
I don't know if he cracks my top 10. I'd love for him to crack my top 10. Don't get me wrong. I would absolutely love for that to happen.
He's no lower than 12, though, right? Like he can't be off the list.
He's not off the list. He's top. I mean, he's for sure top 20, probably top 12. But I don't know. And I had to sit down and like I have to actually look at it and make decisions before I say he is or he isn't, because he's that close to me. I just don't want to be the homer on this podcast being like, yeah, he's number 1. He's the best coach in the country.
And then the last spot, Ryan Day. Where are you at?
Absolutely.
I hope this kid totally just forgot Ryan Day existed. Like he just he submitted this to the managing editor, and they were like, I feel like there's a name missing, but I can't think of it, so we're just gonna publish it.
Yeah.
But guys, that's our breakdown of the top 10 coaches of college football. We're gonna come out with our own show where we rank them 1 through 10, give our justification, give our stats and everything like that. So tune in for that. Guys, go check out all our interviews, man. We got the best talent, some of the best talent in the country, man. Nicario Harper, Jacksonville State DB, OVC Defensive Player of the Year dropped yesterday. Go check that out. And we got Austin Bolton, Alcorn State running back, out today. Go check that, man. Shout out to both of those guys for being on the show. We couldn't be more thankful. And we got so many big guests lined up, man. I can't wait to announce them. All Americans on this podcast. And as always, man, we got to talk our little crap. Man, we are the only podcast on YouTube right now covering the FCS, the HBCUs, the FBS, the Power Five, Group of Fives, man. We cover it all here. Only can find it right here on the Blue Bloods, man. So make sure to subscribe now. But for B-Dub, for myself, man, for the 2 Minute Drill and the Blue Bloods, we are out.